So setting up your space so that you can focus on the breath. Take a seat if you're comfortable in a seated position. I'm going to stand here a little closer to the computer for this part, and then I'll make my way back to my mat. So you're going to exhale all your air out to the bottom, and then we're going to inhale for a count of 4. We'll hold for a count of 4. You're going to exhale for a count of 4 and hold for a count of 4. We're going to, you probably guessed it, do 4 rounds of 4-part or box breathing. And we're just going to do this to kind of help us center and get out of whatever distraction might be happening all around you. So go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable closing them. Exhale out to the bottom. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. All right. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. Staying in that seated position, we're going to start to move with breath. So inhaling, raise your arms up over the top of your head. Exhale, release them down next to your sides. As you're doing this, really focusing in on lengthening the arms all the way out through the fingertips, spreading your fingers out, stretching your hands that have likely been curled up at your keyboard today. Exhale one more time. Last one in. And then this time we're going to fold forward with a cross-leg position. Just walk your hands out. If your hips are pretty tight, you may not be able to get all the way out into that full expression of the position. Just remember that this is your class, and whatever form or shape your body wants to take today is totally fine. All right, let's walk our hands over to the right side of our mat. And then walk them back across over to the left side of the mat, just stretching the low back a little bit here. We're gonna do a general flow class today. Let's bring our hands to the mat. Come up onto your hands and knees. Taking a couple of rounds of cat-cow here, just stretching through the chest and the back, working our spinal mobility, inhaling, lengthening, and tilting your head and tailbone toward the ceiling, exhaling, rounding the upper back. Press down into your hands, splay those fingers. Press into all 10 finger pads. Inhale and exhale. Take one more. Come on back to neutral spine, and then let's tilt our shoulder toward the hip. So you're gonna make a C curve with the spine, feeling that stretch through your obliques, through your lats, and then come back over to the other side. Shoulder tilts toward the hip. You can dip that shoulder down a little bit too if you need to. And then coming back to neutral spine. Let's tuck our toes here and then lift our hips up and back, making our way into downward facing dog. Pedaling your feet, drop one heel and the other, then the other toward the mat. Pressing just one at a time, kind of waking up the back of the legs here. Take a couple more breaths. Good. Go ahead and stretch through both feet. And then exhale, sink both heels back to the floor. Inhale, let's make our way forward into a plank position. Lower down on those knees. Take a deep breath in, and we're going to lower together for 5, 4, 3. Control it. 2. Keep those elbows right next to your chest. Release all the way to the mat. Let's walk the hands out. Come up on the fingertips. Rise up. Wide arm cobra pose. Stretching the abdominals, the chest here. Take a breath in. Exhale, drop your left shoulder, left ear to the mat. Opening up the pec muscles, those chest muscles, front of the shoulder. These are usually pretty tight by this time of day. Inhale. Exhale, drop your other shoulder, other ear, right shoulder, right ear to the mat. Oh, feels so good. Hope it feels good for you as well. Take another breath. Let it go. Inhale, rise up to center. Big, one more big full stretch. Exhale, release, lower your body back to the mat. Bring the hands in next to the chest. Roll your shoulders back. Press down into your hands, up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, making your way to plank position. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, rise up. Let's take a little cobra here, leaving the hands in close. And then exhale, release. Tuck your toes, press up and back. Downward facing dog, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Take one more round just like that. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Use the knees if you need them. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, pressing back. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Go ahead and lift your right leg up and back. Just stacking your right hip on top of the left, taking a little hip opening posture here. Let your right leg bend and reach across the midline like a scorpion tail. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, lower it down. Let's do that same thing on the left side. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee, stack your hip. Always bringing attention back to the breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower it down. All right, from here, we're gonna bring our right leg up and back. And then we're gonna bring our knee toward the nose and plant the right foot up at the top of the mat. Now, if your hips are tight, or you have some mobility issues, this can be a hard position to get into. So the point is we're gonna get that foot to the front of the mat. So if you need to, just step it up there, that's totally fine. Shifting your hips forward here while maintaining still the integrity of the spine. So we're not just crunching into the low back, we're staying in a really nice, firm, structural position for the spine. Tuck the hips toward the ribs a little bit. Tuck your tailbone down. Another way to think about it is like point your tailbone down toward the floor. And what's gonna happen here is you're gonna feel this more in the hip flexor on the left side. Bring your right hand to your hip, your left arm across the midline of the body, and breathe. Take one more breath. And then from here, we're gonna release the left hand to the mat. Bring your right hand to the top of your thigh. Press down into your thigh to rotate and twist. And then if you want to make that a little bit more expansive, you can extend your right arm up, reach it up. And then again, lay out those fingers, stretch all the way out through your hands. Do so much work for you. Release your right hand to the mat, shifting your hips back, point your right toes, right foot, your toes up toward the ceiling. Hinge from the hips, fold over that front leg. Waking up our hamstrings a little bit here. One more breath. Exhale, let it go. Go ahead and shift your weight back to the front of the mat. From here, we're gonna bring your hands to the floor, tuck your toe under, lift that back knee off the floor. We'll rise up into a high lunge position. Good, settling into that posture. Still maintaining that integrity of the spine. Tailbone pointing down toward the floor, hips to ribs. Your right hand's gonna come to your hip again. Reach across the midline of the body. Big side stretch here. So good. Then we're gonna take our left hand to the mat. You can bring your right hand to your thigh, twist and rotate. If you wanna make that more expansive, just like we did from the kneeling position, raise your arm up toward the ceiling and stretch. Take another breath. Okay, release that hand to the floor. Now plant your back heel for warrior one. Prepare for warrior one with your feet. And then when you're ready, rise up with the rest of the body. So our hands are going to be facing each other, palms facing each other. Relax the shoulders. A deep breath. And then from here, we're going to transition into warrior two. All right. Go ahead and reach back, reverse your warrior. We're going to go through some traditional warrior poses here, and then we're going to play with some transitions. Now shifting forward into a version of side angle. So this is a version that's going to require more core strength because we're just going to extend our arms straight up like we do in our warrior one. If you need to support yourself, you can bring your hand down if you need to. From here, we're going to shift back into a side lunge position. So I'm going to move that foot more parallel to the other foot, or you can leave that toe up to face the ceiling. It doesn't really matter. Trying to get into this hip. Go ahead and shift forward again. Come back to that extended side angle position, and then press it back, maybe coming a little deeper. All right, any variation is fine. If you can come into a full squat with this left leg, this is another option. And those toes are pointing up toward the ceiling. Let's do that one more time. Shift forward. Good, then press it back. Hello, hips. And if you are in this kneeling position or you're up, let's work to find a rotation here as well. So you can be here, extend your arm. Maybe bring that hand behind the back, make it a little more intense. All right, let's work our way back toward the front of the mat, hands on either side of the foot. Step your right foot back, lower down, back for all the way. Inhale, rise up. Coming through our half series, pressing back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up high. Exhale, go ahead and swing it through between your hands. Dropping your back knee to the mat here. We rise up. And again, step that foot forward to the top of the mat if you need to. Hips to ribs, tailbone pointing down toward the floor. Getting that psoas muscle. This muscle is so important because it connects your upper and lower hemisphere of the body. It goes through your pelvis and attaches at your lower lumbar spine. And it originates up at the upper part of your spine and attaches down at the and then descends down into your pelvis. And so when we sit all day and this muscle gets super tight, it contributes to low back pain. Bring your left hand to your hip, reach your right arm across the midline. So I always like to spend a little extra time with the psoas. Take your right hand to the floor. Your left hand's gonna come up onto that thigh. Turn your gaze over your left shoulder. Yes. And if you wanna make that more expansive, you can reach your left arm up. Full extension. Good, stay with it. Take one more breath. Release that left hand. Shift your hips over your right knee. You can come up a little bit higher in this posture. Trying to maintain that nice neutral spinal positioning. Take another couple breaths here. Just telling those hamstrings, it's okay. We're gonna open up a little bit here. It may be cold, they may be feeling a little tight today. That's how we practice yoga. Work on that mobility, strength. Good, let's shift forward. Bring your left foot to the front of the mat. Bring your hands to the mat, tuck your back toe under. Lift the back knee up. Plant your back heel, rise up, warrior one. Sorry, that is incorrect. Lift your back heel off the mat. Come to your left hand. We're in a lunge. Bring your right hand across the midline of the body. Bring your right hand to the mat now. And your left hand to your thigh for our rotation. And then perhaps lifting, extending your left arm. Keep rotating. Keep your knee pointing toward the front of the room here. Don't let it splay out. Maintain that strength and integrity. Take one more breath. Release your hand. Now plant your back heel. We're gonna rise up for warrior one. Start with your feet, and then the rest of the body rises up. I'm gonna turn around here just so I'm facing the computer for these movements that we're moving into. Take another breath. Exhale, transitioning. Take your time moving into that warrior two position. So you're gazing out over your front fingertips here. Strong and stable through the core. Take another breath. Reach back, reverse your warrior. Good. Then moving into that version of extended side angle, you can plant your hand, reach across, and then reach up. Core strength. Take another breath, then exhale. We're gonna move into our side lunge. You can bring your elbow to your thigh. We'll all start with this variation, and then we'll progress if you would like to progress. I can't see most of you, so do whatever really feels best to you. If you want to progress now, that's fine too. Take another breath. Exhale, let it go. All right, let's shift forward. And then exhale, come down. Same thing as we did on the other side, but you can take this deeper, and you might also, even from one side to the other, maybe one knee allows a little bit more mobility and depth than the other. It's okay. Now from the strength of your leg here and your core, we're gonna rise back out of that into your extended side angle, and then make your way right back down into it. Last time. And this time, bring your hand to the mat, maybe twist, rotate. Your back hand, your upper hand, left hand behind your back. Good breath. Exhale, let it go. Go forward. Come back to the top of the mat. Stepping your left foot next to your right foot. Exhale, lower down half or all the way. Inhale, rise up. Little cobra. Go ahead and drop down to your knees. Bring your knees to the outer edge of the mat. And then press your hips to the back in a wide leg child's pose. Stack your hands, one on top of each other. Double stack your fists here to make a little pillow with your hands. And then just let your chest sink down in between the thighs. Taking one more breath here. Letting gravity help open up the hips a little bit, and then we'll walk our hand out, come back to stand up on our knees. So we're gonna work into a camel posture today. Camel posture is really, it's a great posture because we're gonna stretch the upper body here. However, you wanna make sure that you're maintaining integrity of the spine and the core. We don't wanna just crunch into the low back. We wanna think about lifting up and then back. So we're gonna bring our hands to the lower back for support to start. You're gonna keep your knees stacked right underneath the hips. So we're not gonna do that, right? We're not gonna let our hips come back. We're gonna leave the hips right on top of the knees, and then we start to open up, keeping those hands right to the hips. Come on back to center, using the strength of your core. I like to imagine someone actually pulling from a heartstring to come out of this position, so it uses the strength of your core instead of like rolling out of it. And so let's do that again. Come back into that position. And hips right over the knees. And if you can reach back, maybe grab those heels. If you can maintain the stacking. If you start to feel compression in your back, it's too deep, too much, just come back out of it to right here. All right, if you have your hands on your heels, heartstring's gonna pull you up and out of it. You feel that? Feel a little shaky there. Strength in the core is what that is. All right, let's do it one more time. Bring your hands and notice as you come out of this position, do you feel a little bit of increase in energy? Back bends are very energizing for the nervous system. They activate the sympathetic branch of your nervous system. And so you may feel like you just had a little shot of espresso there. Let's do one more time and then we're gonna come down. We're gonna do some work to recover and more of a sedative posture. Good, and then rise up. Cool. All right, so we're working a lot of back extension here. Now we'll work some flexion of the spine. All right, go ahead and bring your hips down to the heels in a seated position. We're gonna move into a posture. I'm gonna show you this first, and then we'll do it together because you won't be able to see if you just go down into the child's pose. So this is a posture that one of my teachers from years ago, he said, when I don't feel like practicing, this is how I start my practice. And it's basically a head massage. So we're gonna put our forehead on the floor, and we're gonna bring our hands behind the back. And so it'll be a chest expansion, head massage, child's pose. You're gonna put your head on the floor, and then you're gonna roll up onto the crowd. A ton of pressure into your head, just a little bit. Like imagine the amount of pressure you're getting a massage, and those arms are gonna fall forward. So just start to sync that movement with breath. Inhale, shift forward, and exhale, press it back. Good, keep pressing into the mat. Take about this. 2. And last one, forward, back. All right, go ahead and walk your hands out. Take a full proper child's pose, proper, whatever that is. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. Press your hips in the opposite direction. And then walk your hands all the way back across. Bring your hands to the left side of the mat. Walk your hands, pressing your hips in the opposite direction. The center. Let's rise up and then just swing those hips around, coming into a seated posture. All right, from here, walk your hands back so they're supporting you. You're just in a little bit of a lean here. And then we're gonna take our right leg across the left for a seated pigeon pose. And then just starting to move side to side, getting a little bit of depth in our mobility of the hip. I know I talk a lot about different kind of joint angles and things like that in this class, but if you think about it, a deep squat that we perform, that deep sumo squat or malasana pose, some people call in Sanskrit, will be the same thing as a happy baby if you're turned upside down on your back. So if you struggle to go into that deep squat because of your hips or your knee mobility, just practice in a different way. Practice on your back. So we're gonna do that in a seated position too. Bring your hand around your right leg, right foot, and then just pull your knee toward the back of the room. Pull it back. And again, same thing as when we come into this squat. We're working on getting that hip mobility. Or our side lunge, really any of those postures, take one more and then release that foot. Let's come to the other side. Bring your left leg, shin bone over the top of your thigh, and just a little side to side movement. Bringing attention to your breath here. Feel free to close your eyes and eliminate any of the distractions that may be in your environment that you don't appreciate right now. Turn the focus inward. My son went back to school, so no more soup at the kitchen table. Bring your left hand around the outer edge of your hip and then pull your knee toward the back of the room. Good. A couple more. And then we'll just crisscross the legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, tuck your chin to your chest, round your upper back. Inhale, come all the way through. And last, chest expansion. Move back to neutral. All right, let's make our way down to the mat. Opportunity here to use our core strength to control our descent all the way down. If you want to plant your feet on the floor, or you can lift them up to make it a little more challenging. Coming through boat pose. Take your time. Create just a little bit of instability, maybe a little shakiness. And know that that edge, that point where your body is quivering a little bit, that's where we're getting stronger. All right. Let's go ahead and take our right foot, wrap your right hand around the edge of your foot, around the outer edge of your foot. Pull your knee toward the floor. Yes, and then do the same thing on the left side. Pull your left knee toward the floor. Just moving into that happy baby, this upside down squat position. Feels so good to open the hips. Sometimes we don't realize even how much tension we're holding in these spaces until we move into these postures. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, release your feet to the floor. Go ahead and press down into the feet. Lift your hips into bridge pose. Strong through the core. Strong through the glutes. Press into the feet all the way through the entire foot. Take one more breath. Go ahead and lower your hips all the way back down to the mat. When you're ready, extend your legs out into relaxation pose. Your palms roll up to face the ceiling. Let your belly rise and fall each breath. If you can tune into that sensation of the rising and falling of the belly. We're not trying to control it or manipulate the breath in any way now. You've been hopefully controlling and regulating your breath for most of our class today. Now just let your body breathe. Notice how you're breathing. Scan your body here. Just notice if you're clenching. And if so, see if you can release any tension. It's unnecessary. You know, I tense a lot in my eyes and the jaw, throat, the neck, the shoulders. Those are the areas that tend to be unnecessarily wasting our energy when we clench. We don't need that muscular energy. The body is supported here on the mat, on the ground. Bring awareness to your hands. To see if you can feel your hands. Kind of a strange thing to think about, feeling your hands. What sensations do you notice there? Are they tingly? Are they warm or cold? Can you feel your pulse, maybe even all the way out into your fingertips? Get really still. That life force that's circulating through the body. Just take a couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, roll over onto your left side. Just make your way into a side lying position. You can bring your head onto your bicep for support. Before you rise up, think about how you'd like to proceed with the last half of your Friday, work day anyway. Hopefully you're feeling a little energy, as well as a little peace. Bring your hands to the floor, press up. Let's close our class with one more round of 4-part breath. And keep in mind, this is a tool that you can take out there and use at any time that you need a little reset for your nervous system, or you're starting to feel overwhelmed or overstimulated, whatever's going on in your environment, whether or not you have the condition I do when people eat, it bothers you. It's called mesophonia. It came to me during class today. Go ahead and exhale all the way out to the bottom. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale deeply in. Exhale, let go a big sigh. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day if you need to take off. And if you do have questions, comments, I will be around for just a little bit. Thanks again. All right. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop our